We are ready. Okay. Co-host
So,
Carmen is gonna do some quiet meditation.
and that this is just to get our minds right? So that we could start respecting each other's viewpoints and realizing that we might not always share the same point of view, but that no one is right, no one is wrong. It's just difference of opinions, okay? 1 second.
Okay.
There we go.
Find a comfortable place to sit down. Choose somewhere that is free from many noisy things that can be distractions. Make sure you are sitting upright with a tall spine, either on the floor or in a chair. Situate yourself in this moment and begin bringing your attention to your breath. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Deliberately become aware of your thoughts and feelings in this moment. What sensations do you feel in your body? What thoughts are you thinking? What are you feeling? Recognize these as your experience, even if they are uninvited. Begin to focus on your breath. Feel the air as it enters your body on the inhale, and the air as you exhale. Simply become aware of your breathing without trying to modify your rhythm. Notice if your breath is long or short, rough or smooth. Is it cool on the inhale and warm on the exhale? Bring attention to the slight pause you might feel after each inhale and exhale. You may notice your mind begins to wander to thoughts of the day, worries or fears. This is perfectly natural. Recognize these as thoughts and choose a word or phrase that summarizes and validates them. Gently bring your attention back to your breath as you inhale and exhale. Notice how your breath affects your whole body in a sensory way. Continue bringing your attention to your breath and body, labeling thoughts and emotions as they arise.
Thanks, guys. It's yours now, Bev. I'm going to stop sharing. You're muted, Bev.
Okay, good night, everyone. Welcome to the Uncomfortable Conversation. While everything is not for everyone, we just ask that you be mindful of each other's opinion. My name is Beverly Perryman, SpiceIslandQueen. I'm a certified sexologist, sex educator. And tonight we just bring you topics that affect our life. You know, I can sit here and we can have conversation about sex all night, but this is not what life is really about. All the other things surrounding relationship also affect our lives. So tonight we are talking about toxic femininity. Our last session, we did toxic masculinity. And I got a lot of messages, that we're bashing men, which I shared the video. And if they went back and look at it, they'll understand that it's not what we all about. Okay, we about education. So they wanted me to do female. So here's female, which we also are not bashing females. We are giving information and educating on the topics. With that, I'll turn it over to my host. First of all, a new addition to our group is Tasha. So I'd like her to introduce herself. Welcome, Tasha. You're muted, Tasha.
I am Tosh. I'm also a certified sexologist. Right now, I work with the health department. I do COVID-19. I'm a contact tracer for the health department. Previous, I was a case manager and a HIV counselor. So I am glad Miss Beverly invited me tonight. And thank you guys for letting me join your group.
Okay,
Welcome,
Carmen.
Tasha.
Thank you, Miss Carmen.
Well, you know, the truth, my grandparents used to say the truth is a very hard pill to swallow, right?
It is.
And most of the times as humans, we would rather not deal with things. So we assign labels, we assign blame, we deflect, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we are talking about these topics, it's not to say her, me, she, him, they, or even we.
Right.
It's just to say this is an issue in human life, right? This
Yes,
is a
ma'am.
human thing, right? A human, maybe because it was a learned behavior, maybe because of experiences, but to say that, oh, well, it is not happening, is ludicrous, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Mm-hmm. To say I haven't been guilty of it, it's ridiculous because I'm sure I've been many times, right? So it's just trying to help us figure out how can we become better human beings.
Exactly.
Right? Faults and all, accepting all our parts and trying to make a difference in the world that we live in, right? That we occupy temporarily, right? So we were talking 2 weeks ago about toxic masculinity. And we were not talking about men and what they do. We were talking about the dominance. When you use your power to overtake the opinion, the feelings, the thought process of someone else, that's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And when we're talking about female masculinity, toxic females, we know them, we've even been them. So it's not to bash anyone. It's just to bring light to some of the things that are happening in our lives. And hopefully we could learn something, we can share something, we could take away something. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
And above all, when we leave here, we leave with grace. We give each other some grace, right? Mm-hmm. So Perryman, you want to talk about? Well, first of all, I hate to say that. I don't like to talk about myself at all. But, you know, credential matters, right? People like to say, oh, who cares? Credentials matter. So I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and a BS. So, and then I have a master's degree in general education and special education. Am I an authority on anything? Far from it. I consider myself a lifelong learner first. And so all of this is for me to learn, right? And we have our next co-host, Perryman. I love this guy. He'll share a little bit before we continue.
Well, I guess my expertise is, myself and Mike are the only two males on this call. So I guess our expertise is we deal with women all day, every day. So things that we've seen, things that we've experienced, so things that we've had conversations with other females in terms of things that they agree with and disagree with, that stand out with. Some things might be toxic, some things might be gender roles. So Let's get started.
All right. Tasha, do you have anything to add to that before we continue? Tasha, you unmute yourself, please.
Yes, Miss Beverly.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to that?
I wanted to add, I do have a podcast, Tantalizing Talks. If you guys want to check it out, it's on Apple, Spotify, Google. We talk about all topics. So I don't put nothing above anyone. You know, we don't judge, we don't shame. It's a place of comfort where females, males, transgender, everybody is welcome. So I just want to share that. Thank you for my sister and my friend who came on tonight. Thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Okay. All right, so hold on, I'm trying to share this link. One thing that I have to say is that while I was trying to, last time when we did Toxic Masculinity, there was so much information. And this week I'm looking at females and I could barely find any information. And I'm thinking to myself, why is that? Even when I'm looking Toxic Femininity, it always referred back to male masculinity. So I'm thinking to myself, is that an avoidance from or cover up for what females do or what we don't represent, and just continuously put the blame towards the male? So,
maybe because none of us researched it and like wrote about it, right?
Right.
Usually you find information that has been written and studied, you know, but maybe that's something, maybe that's a book for us. Maybe that's a research article for us because we know it exists.
Absolutely, absolutely. So guys, any take on that, since Mr. Perryman is the only male here?
For now.
You're muted. Okay.
Well, I have some videos and some things that we'll get into. So as I show the videos, we can, you know, enhance our conversation based on the videos.
I'm trying to share this screen, but it's not working too well.
So let me ask a question. When you think about toxic, the word toxic, what comes to mind? You can unmute yourself to speak, or you can write it in the chat. When you hear the word toxic, what comes to mind?
Poison.
Anyway,
A deep unsatisfaction with yourself.
Feel free, guys, write in the chat or speak up. It's an open mic.
I'm sorry, C, can you elaborate a little bit more?
So for me, when I think about toxic, I think about a house. I usually think about gas, overpowering, poisoning, killing, destroying. That's when I think about toxic. Because I always think about gas, just the smell of gas. And when I think about gas and being toxic, I just want to let you guys know gas is not naturally, there's no smell in gas, right? That's why it's so deadly. But scientists has deliberately put in this chemical in the gas so that you begin to smell it and it warns you of danger, right? So when I think about toxicity, I think about gas, I think about running for safety. What do I need to turn off? What do I need to cover? How far do I need to get from this? That's what I think about.
right, it does have the connotation of unhealthiness, something that's not normal.
Right.
So Galaxy tab A said it's negativity, it's poisonous. And Cheryl said, when I hear toxic, I think of something that will kill you. Absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, Beverly.
I'm Chanel. I feel the same way. She feels toxic, dangerous, or toxic, or something that could harm you, or you can't come back from, poisonous, or something to that same effect as she just expressed. I'm sorry I didn't get your name.
Yeah.
I'm Chanel, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hi, Chanel.
I'm in the backyard. I hope y'all can see me.
Nice, nice.
So
Okay.
Cheryl Lewis said that when she hear toxic, she think of something that would kill you.
Mhm.
So when you think about femininity, what do you think about?
Okay, so coming from a sexuality point of view, I'm thinking about classy, sexual, looking good, and just the way that you present yourself. Like I'm a catch, attention seeking,
Feminine.
Right.
classy.
The characteristics of a woman. Yes.
Yeah, femininity is like how you carry yourself, how people perceive you when you enter a room.
Excellent. Anything else? When I think, go ahead.
Cheryl Lewis said dainty.
Yes. Yes.
I see this a lot. I'm a pastor, and I see when other women put other women down, it's toxic, or we dumb ourselves down for a man, so that he could look good, or we shame them for being a certain way if they're too soft or too hard. When I think of toxic femininity, I think of a woman who's negative towards men and women.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I
When
have that on my screen, excuse me, but I'm not able to share my screen for some reason.
So when I think about femininity, while you're trying to get that, Bev, I think about this teacher I had. Her name was Marcia Pascal from Grenada. I was 12 years old. I remember this woman to this day. She was not flamboyant, right? But she was classy. And you could see her from a mile off, and the way she walked and carried her bag and carried her books. And she had an air about her. It wasn't arrogance. It wasn't like, how people say you're show offish. No, she glided on the streets. And so when I think about femininity, it always brings me back to this teacher by the name of Marcia Pascal when I was growing up. And if I think about femininity for myself, that's what I hope people see when they see me. With regards to femininity.
All right, so I want to kind of change directions of like what's going on, because like we're giving our own personal definitions of it, but the thing that we learned from doing toxic masculinity is that a lot of people, like we tried to do the definition and a lot of people are still kind of confused about it. So my thing is I have a bunch of videos to show you, because sometimes people learn visually. So I'm going to show some videos and we're going to discuss the videos. So I have like roughly 6 or 7 videos. So, just to kind of change pace. So I'm going to share my screen and show the first video.
Oh God, not Kevin Samuels.
I love
I
this guy.
cannot
I love this
stand
guy.
Judgment-free zone. We're taking the information and that's it. We're rolling with the information. We're not personalizing it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Perryman.
I'm sorry, can y'all hear this?
Uh-uh.
So when you share, do the volume.
Okay, hold on. I gotta stop it.
Oh, you got to share and I couldn't share it. My screen.
Oh, here we go. All right, you guys ready? So the title of this is "We Are Educated and Make Money. Why Do We Need a Man?" Because of course, in our community, this is like the speaking point for a lot of women. So the question is, why do they need a man? Is this toxic? So let's hear what he's saying to her and how and what she's responding with.
The world does not owe you understanding or me understanding.
Can you guys hear this?
Fall of 1993, I heard that a Bigfoot murdered 3 guys on a dope farm. There's always been room.
If you have all this trauma, go seek professional help because the rest of us do not have to suffer you.
Okay, it's easy to tell Black women and Black people
Do you not
in the
under,
Black
whose-
community
no,
to get
whose
help,
responsibility is it to get the help they need?
but it's not available readily to our
That
community
is
that easily.
bullshit.
With the
Whose
wealth gap growing, how many people
whose
can afford?
responsibility is it to get the mental health they need? Who?
It is ultimately the responsibility of us to get the mental health that we need. But I'm
You
letting
mean
you know
you
that
mean the
we are
person
very
being
underserved.
you can't make this stuff up. So you say we're underserved. You got to tell me that the therapists that already exist are overloaded. We don't go get help, man. We just had a therapist on here before. I talked to psychiatrists, and first of all, what is that you talking to? I know hundreds of them. Anyway, what do Black people tend to deal with? How do Black women tend to deal with their mental health issues? With a licensed clinician or with Jesus?
Mute yourself so we can all hear nicely, please. Thanks.
From the age of you're little.
No, ma'am.
That's something we grow
I
up with.
asked who. You see, I asked who they see. We're not gonna play. I'm not gonna play the lily pad game. Did they go to a clinician or did they go to the church?
The church most often.
All right, and these are educated. Most of these women are educated, and they've heard about therapy. They make the choice not to go. No different than I'm gonna switch it up. No different than women understand and hear that being 200 pounds and 5 foot tall is unhealthy. But yet 80% of our women are overweight and 80% of that is obese. They know the truth. They choose
And
to
the
do
narrative,
something else.
the narrative pushed to us most often is that a guy wants a woman with a big ass. He wants, a thick lady.
Accountability is kryptonite to modern women. Ma'am, you say the traumas? If I accept them, then you got to do something about them. Because what about the traumas that the Black man has to deal with? But we still have to get out here and be functioning people in society, contributing. You don't get to walk around and say, have a special victim status.
I'm not saying we should have a special victim status, but our circumstance is different. We are women. We are less
You're 24 years old. Is your circumstance harder or easier than your grandmother and your great grandmother?
Exponentially easier. We have access to information we didn't have.
Exponentially easier, but you're handling it worse. Your grandmother, your great grandmother actually could work with a Black man with more trauma.
Because they understood that the Black woman and the Black man are on the same side. Now that we're all free and independent and we could do whatever we want to, why would we seek to, be one with the Black man? We even think that being...
Thank you. Clip it, slice it, put it on World Star. She said it, not me. Now that you're independent, you don't need to be with. There you go. There you go. And there you go. And there you go. There you go, Black man. There it is. She's finally got one to say it.
build businesses with us.
Your
Help us
grandmothers,
not
your
go.
grandmothers, and your grandmothers and your great grandmothers had more trauma and more stress and did it better. They have exponentially less and they're handling it worse. But it's because they're free and can do what the hell they want to. They don't need to be with you. So you don't need to feel any guilt for taking care of you, for putting yourself first and making your passion, your purpose, your priority. You don't need to feel guilty because this 24-year-old woman just said it. They don't feel any guilt about it.
Oh, all right. That's video number one.
Okay, so
Anyway, first I have to ask, why did he attack her like that?
Because that's what he does. He turns a profit on actually marginalizing Black women and demonizing them.
Right. To me,
listen,
to me, that correct. To me, that was not a reflection of a toxic Black woman. That was a reflection of a Black man verbally slicing and dicing a Black woman.
Yeah.
To fit the narrative. But that's only my opinion.
That's my opinion as well. I thought that he took what she was saying out of context to try to fit what he was trying to do, and continuing to, in my eyes, what I saw, he was degrading her. He was putting her down for having a thought, but never really clarifying what she was trying to say.
Or even giving her the opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like that she wasn't even given the space to fully express her feelings. I really couldn't even get the concept that she was trying to push because she couldn't. He was speaking over her.
That was definitely more of a monologue than a dialogue. He did dominate the conversation, although I did understand a few points that he was trying to make out. I think the point that he was trying to make is that, now that the Black woman is independent and they don't no longer monetary need a Black man. They don't need to depend on a Black man for monetary reasons. They don't subject themselves to, dealing with certain things. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Okay,
because everyone should be working on making themselves a better person for the person that they're with, right?
Okay, so does that make her toxic? Does that make a woman toxic because the society had taught us, especially as Black women, that we don't need a man because we are making more money than them. So therefore we can, back in the days, women depended on a man to take care of them. So now we no longer need that. So is that toxic behavior?
No. I think it can become toxic. I think that narrative, it can become toxic. Yes, it can become toxic.
I have a different viewpoint, and I'll share my viewpoint. I grew up in a generation, I'm like almost 60, and I grew up in a generation where the women that were older than me, they were dependent on men. Mm-hmm. And I saw the control that men extracted because they were the providers, right? Okay. They weren't like they didn't appear like if they had a moral compass even, because they would beat these women that were dependent on them. They would exploit the children. And so women are now saying, okay, if this is what I need to be in, since I can now take financial care of myself and the children, here's what I will do. I will not take this from you because I can financially take care of myself and my children. That's where I am coming from. That's how I see it.
Right. And while that's correct, let's not forget, let's kind of not get too much into the men. We're talking about what makes women toxic.
Right, but that video was not a reflection about what makes women toxic. And even if she is toxic, right? In that moment, she's justified being toxic because she is being disrespected by someone that is more overt with his toxicity, right? So he's bringing that out in her because she's not able to defend herself. She's not able to speak. So in that moment, maybe she is toxic, but the question is why?
I don't think that she was toxic. I think that what she said was definitely taken out of content, but she did say something that kind of leads to the toxic trait, which is, I'm a woman, I'm independent, I don't need a man for anything. That's kind of what leads to that trait. We're pushing our men away with that type of thinking. That's where it starts. And I think that's what he wanted to point it out to. This is where it starts.
Absolutely.
Right, but he did not give her an opportunity to further explain why she felt that way. Because don't forget, there's always a cause and effect. Things do not happen in isolation.
But he didn't have to give her that opportunity because that's how we were programmed to think, right?
Right.
That's how Black women is the only women who are now saying, I'm good, I don't need a man. Remember that, right? Because we are programmed that way. Everybody else, they need a man, they need a husband, and it does not necessarily, and hold on, and it does not necessarily have to be financially, but you just think about it, and I'm gonna use this example. One of my friends called me through this whole COVID thing, and they said to me, oh my God, I'm here by myself. If I fell sick or something, I have nobody to even say, bring me a drink of water. Okay, I'm here alone. And that's the whole thing behind Black women. Black women are alone because we have that mentality that was passed down to us through slavery. Okay, so we can go through the whole thing of taking the man out the house and telling us, here's your food stamp, here's this government, Uncle Sam's going to take care of you. So it all goes back to that.
Yes.
But
I feel like,
who programmed us though?
Can I jump in?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. Hi,
okay. Hi, y'all. So, sometimes I'm on the polar opposite of things, but the way that I look at it is, okay, as I'm so sorry. What is her name? I'm so sorry. I forgot. As she was mentioning though, how did we become indoctrinated to feel as though that we have to be independent? I mean, I know for myself, me and Perryman have had many conversations where I feel like, for me, in our culture, and talking about Black culture, I feel like most of the accountability and onus and responsibility is on Black women and not necessarily the man. So I get the whole concept of, welfare took the man out of the home, but let's not act like welfare is really actually sustainable. So my thing is, what were you doing or lack thereof to where somebody chose the bare minimum of government assistance in order to get their families by? Not only that, but let's not act like Black men don't push the narrative that they want an independent woman. They are the number one people screaming that they want a woman to go 50-50 with them on the bills, and that you're supposed to be a ride or die, and you're supposed to help them get it. This has been indoctrinated in us through the men. And the reason why is because the men do not stand up onto their mantle of manhood like other men are. We are the only race of women who have to go out here and get it on ourselves. Not to mention we are, as of before, well, recently, white women have taken a spot as single mothers. And a lot of the times, if you look at the statistics, they're single mothers when they have babies by Black men. So Black men are the number one people creating single mothers. So then within itself, you have to then become more masculine in your role and take head of the house and the family and the household. Not to mention, when I was growing up in high school, one of the number one songs out here that a lot of them were singing was Miss Independent. I want an independent woman to do your own and everything like that. And then when we actually started to take on those mannerisms in that role, then we were demonized for it. But at the end of the day, if we're being blatantly honest here, what can Black men actually provide to Black women? That wasn't given
Where
to
is
them
the
by
man
a
to
white
defend themselves?
Can I
I mean,
say,
no, really. I mean, even with
can I say something?
Sure.
even with the
Because
oh
I
wait,
think
I just
that,
want to finish
Give her
one
a
thought.
minute.
I
One
wanted to
second.
finish
Let her
one
finish
thought.
her thought. Go
Mhm.
ahead,
I just want to
India.
finish one thought. Because even with the whole police brutality thing, who is the number one spokesperson, or who are they plastering all over to say, oh, you have to fight oppression in the police? Most of the time, it's a Black woman. And on top of that, it's a dark-skinned Black woman, which I feel like that is a detriment to our image. And that's one of the things that is masculizing us to the point where, you know, you see all these videos of Black women being literally brutalized and nobody stepping in and people just thinking that it's funny. And then, you know, on the flip side of it, you'll have it where they're like, well, I thought you could protect yourself. Thought you could do it on your own. Y'all are so independent, right? You don't need a man, right? But this was some of the things that they indoctrinated into us. We didn't come up with this on our own. We didn't put ourselves in these positions to have to be the head of the household and the leaders of the home.
Thank you,
it was pretty
India.
much forced upon us.
Absolutely. 1 minute, India. Someone else want to talk. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you.
I just think that I'm Chanel. I just think that everything, every situation is case by case scenario. As a woman, you want to take care of yourself or build yourself up so that you're able to take care of yourself independently. But once you meet your partner's supposed to compliment you. And sometimes, we go with theory about what's going on in society and stuff like that. But when you meet an individual, it meets you at that point where it compliments you. You as a person, whether it's a female or male, you are obligated to know who you want to accept in your life that could build your future with. So when I say that, I'm just saying that, yeah, I get what everybody else is saying about the men and stuff like that, being independent. Yes, of course, I want to be independent. I am an independent woman. I am a single mom raising 2 boys, for other circumstances. Not bad circumstances, but just some circumstances that happen in my life. But at the end of the day, do I need a man? Yes. Not saying I need a man to take care of me, but you want a compassion. That's my choice as my spouse or a person I want to be with. Am I going to turn him down because, oh, he don't have this, yeah, that? It's your preference. That's part of the dating scheme. And that's what I say. It's not about choosing. Everybody say what you got, what you could bring to the table because I got this and I have that. I could do this. What you going to do for me? That's what everybody put. That's what I feel like the misconcept of what a man to bring to the table. Because as an individual, you build yourself up, you went to school, you became a successful individual, and you're able to take care of yourself independently. Of course, you don't want somebody else that can come into your life where you have to take care of them as well, no matter who the other person is. But you want someone that's going to compliment you so that you can build a great future with. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all about case by case scenario, and nowadays you have to be careful. I'm sorry that I'm in the dark, but you have to be careful of the person that you bring in your life, no matter who it is.
Absolutely.
No matter who it is, because every man has a situation and a story to tell. They're not that way because they want to choose to be that way. They have a story to tell, and everybody's trying to get something from somebody. Us as individuals, as a female, as a male, we just have to be careful of the partners who we choose. There's just some people that's just not good for anybody, whether they're a male or a female. They're just not good for nobody. They need to still work on themselves.
That's a toxic one.
Yeah, right. So that's my point. Like, I don't want to point out a female or a male, but I think I come to a point in my life whereas it's not about what a man can bring to the table, it's what we can do together.
Absolutely.
And that's what I look for.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
and sometimes everybody's
like
not transparent. We skip the dating game. We go into fuck it. I'm sorry, y'all. We go into other things that's not relevant to build that foundation of relationship.
Absolutely.
So those things that we do, like in that type of situation, of course it becomes toxic because you never got a chance to meet the person. He or she was already the wrong person for you, but you never got a chance to let it be developed. So that's why I say, like, everything is a case by case scenario. not to bring everybody into one box or one crab in a bucket, you know, because I love my Black brothers and I know they need help building themselves up. And not saying everybody is damaged.
But why do we
Yes,
gotta play
Eric,
the
you
man
timing
role?
out?
Why
You
do we
calling
have
me
to
out?
help them build themselves up? As a
Right.
man, you're supposed to do that yourself.
I feel like
this is
we've
a great
done that a
mistake
lot.
that Black women make. Black women make this mistake so often, and I see it so many times, and I feel like that is a delusional state of mind. We are the only race of women that do that, and I'm sorry. Unfortunately for me, I do not look at it the same way. As I've gotten older in this world, and I've had a Black son, and I'm a single mother, I am definitely on what do you bring to the table, because I can do bad all by myself. Nobody helped me build up anything. Nobody gave me nothing. I had to go through the trenches as a woman. So if I can do that, then what is your excuse? As a man, we are the only ones who do that. Literally, when I talk to other races of women, whether they be white, Asian, Hispanic, none of them have that same type of concept of, oh, I just want compassion and love. Marriage and generational wealth does not come with just love. I am sorry. We are always the come up woman, but the minute that a man gets on top, they leave us for a blonde hair, biracially ambiguous woman. You want to know why? Because we are a constant reminder of them to the struggle. This is a grave mistake that I feel like only Black women make. And I feel like a part of the reason why is because we live in a Black male identified culture where we like to victimize them all the time. And that's why they have a victim state of mind. And that is why we are at where we are at in the places that we are. Because individually, if we're talking about just Black women, we are leading in finances, we are leading in education, and we are leading in entrepreneurship. As far as a family structure goes, when we are married to a Black man, we are at the very bottom of the totem pole. However, if you look on the flip side of that, when Black men are married to Black women, their wealth significantly goes up versus ours. We are actually decreased the minute that we are tied to Black men. And
Thanks,
that is just
India.
a cold, hard truth.
Thank you, India.
All right, so India, time out. So
That's a fact.
y'all are throwing out all these facts, but let's see. Because
It is a fact. It is a
India.
All I talk about is
Okay, hold India, let's give somebody else.
So time out. So and my thing is, I'm not arguing anybody's point. Like I said, all I'm doing is showing the videos and letting y'all have an opinion. So now the next video, because now since that was mentioned, let's get to this next video that kind of deals with what India just said. So let me get to this next video.
We are having some heated debates today.
Indeed. You got it, Perryman? I think
it's fun you show that video. I was definitely going to bring up a topic in relation to that, Mr. Perryman. So go ahead and show the video.
You say a Candyman 5 times while looking in the mirror. He appears and kills you. No, Black people don't need to.
A resurface.
Eric, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the background on this video is this is an NBA player, PJ Washington. He played for the Charlotte Hornets. This lady here, her name is Brittany Renner. She's 10 years older than him. Right? So they were in a relationship. I think he married her. And as soon as she got pregnant and the baby was born, she divorced him. And then there's a video that shows her how she talks about how athletes are stupid. They don't have sex with condoms. So this is the easiest way for a come up.
But it's not the norm. Anyway.
The video of Brittany Renner shows her talking about how easy it is to get money from athletes, and PJ Washington walked right into a trap, you guys. Let's dig into this news. Hi guys, I'm Devin Howard. You can follow me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Thanks for tuning into the Fumble. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, and show this video to your friends. By the way, you guys, this is my very last video on the Fumble. It has been such a pleasure getting to talk about sports news.
Can we forward it so we don't hear her promoting herself?
You guys on Instagram.
That's what I'm trying to
Okay,
do.
let's talk about this Brittany Renner and PJ Washington news. PJ Washington stunned practically everyone when he started dating Brittany Renner, a woman who's nearly a decade older than him. People were even more shocked to learn the two were having a baby together. On social media, things seemed totally fine, but shortly after the baby was born, the two hit rocky waters. Early on in their new parent life, Brittany and PJ split up. Big surprise there. And PJ was torn apart about it. Check out the video here.
First people to deal with are the athletes. None of them use condoms, really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, you could just fuck an athlete. They're really dumb.
Yikes! Not a.
So that's just what I wanted to show with her being in a relationship with an NBA player, her actually, before she even was in the relationship with this basketball player, stating that athletes are stupid because they don't like using condoms. So if you want to basically come up on a guy, this is how you do it. Let me rewind the video again so you guys can hear from her mouth.
First people to deal with are the athletes. None of them use condoms, really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, you could just fuck an athlete. They're really dumb.
Nothing.
Yikes!
So is this toxic?
Yes.
But also, that's
Yes,
one woman.
Absolutely.
One woman. That's one woman.
Okay, but no. A lot of women has that
Gold
mentality.
diggers. These are gold diggers.
Okay, so
How much is a lot, though?
listen. Let's hear from the men. Okay, we got three now. Okay, let's hear from the men.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Marie.
Can you hear me? Y'all gotta
Yes, we can.
please excuse my dress. I was doing something else at the time, but this is something that is common, and I want us to understand that where it comes from. Again, I always revert back to the origin of a situation. This toxic femininity actually comes from the processes of the European situation to the slave master. Let me explain something to you. What's her name? The missus. She didn't have to do nothing. She didn't have to work. She didn't have to feed her own children, even breastfeed her own children. She didn't have to dress. Everybody did something for her. And as we came to the process of after slavery, guess what we wanted? We wanted what she had. We wanted what she had. He didn't have.
Not only did we want it, the men wanted it too.
No.
Men wanted it too.
We're not gonna do that. Please give him a chance to speak.
The women wanted that. And what did we fall victim to? Now, we have to understand that this process of right now to where the man must do everything for the woman, that didn't come from us, from Africa. That didn't come from the origins of where we from. Even if you want, Queen, because you speak often, right? When I'm looking at with the glasses on now, do you believe in the scriptures at all? The one who just spoke, do you believe in the scriptures, Queen? Not you, the other one who was just speaking when I was talking. She cut me off.
If you're speaking to me with the glasses, my name is Carmen.
Carmen, how you doing? Do you believe in the scriptures?
Yes, I do, but I don't believe in a lot of the white man scriptures, but we could talk about that another time.
White man scriptures. Guess what? We're going to go back to Abraham. Guess what? Abraham and Sarah were tent makers. Isaac and Rebekah worked together. Jacob and his wife worked together. How did Boaz acknowledge Ruth? Working. So this thought process of us as the black man or the black woman never having to do anything and the man have to take care of everything, this came from the slave master thought process. It didn't come from us. So as we gravitated to this, guess what? The man made us look so horrible in front of the woman to guess what she came to the ideology of. I don't need you. He can take care of me for absolutely everything it is that I need. I have a project house. I have Section 8, I have food stamps, I have ways to take care of my children. So man, you are actually unnecessary for me. And this is gravitated into our thought process to where now the woman looks at the man as not as the lead, not as the head, not as the protector, not the one who brings morals, principles, standards, honor, loyalty, integrity, and spirituality. But if he doesn't have more than me and can provide for me and take care of me on his own, I don't need him. That is very, very toxic. And that's why most women think like this today.
The question I have though is how come? How did this happen?
Then I just
did women just wake up one morning and decided that they are not they cannot depend on their men?
It took place over 387 years. Guess what happened? It took through the process of slavery. Guess what the master would do to break the woman? Now, please read the Willie Lynch syndrome, right?
I did.
Willie Lynch article.
I did.
Let me explain. Okay, you read it. Guess what it says? Take this man and beat him and rape him in front of his wife and children.
Oh yeah.
So what does that make you look like? What that make you look at your man like? That make you a woman. So guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna say, I love you. I respect you and I honor you, but you can't protect me and my children from him. So how do you begin to look at me?
And now?
Can I kind of? Can we kind of get back to like the main topic? Is the video toxic or not? Because like we're veering off into like sidebars and turn to a man versus woman.
Yeah.
No, she just asked me how did it originate?
That
and
is toxic.
How it originated, they did that to us for 389 years. And it gravitated off into now, this is what we accept. If he cannot provide for me materially and financially, he's nothing to me. Nothing else matters that he can bring to the table.
But do you, sir, do you
Because
realize
love don't pay the
that-
bills.
Do you
Love and
realize?
compassion.
You say love pay the bills?
I said love and compassion don't pay the bills.
Yeah, they do. Real
No,
love.
they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. In what world? Because I would love to go to my landlord and say, I got love and compassion. Am I good for the month?
We're not talking about to your landlord. We're talking about to the mate that you're in the house with. And if you have a deep respect and love for him, and he has a deep respect and love for you, guess what y'all gonna do? What is necessary to get the bills paid together without depending upon the system, without depending upon your landlord.
So
you're a
you're
prime
saying,
no disrespect to you, but you're a prime example of exactly what I'm talking about right now when you said love don't pay the bills.
so are you saying, sir?
And I want more Black women to be that shining example too. Because I just
okay,
funny the
okay,
other
okay,
way.
listen.
Time out.
Okay, listen. We're
Everybody
not
be
gonna have
calm.
conflict. This is conversation education, okay? So we're not.
The question I have is this: for every action, there's a reaction. We're talking about the reaction, but we're not talking about the root cause of this, right? What are the root causes of Black women feeling they cannot depend on their men, right? Why do they feel the need? I'm not done.
Carmen,
Why do they feel the
I need
need?
to cut you off for a second.
Go ahead.
Because like the topic that we're discussing is toxic femininity. It's
Right.
not about cause and effect. It's about we live in a society because when we did the toxic masculinity, we didn't really have a definition. So from based on what happened last time, I wanted to give visuals on what we think toxicity either looks like or don't look like. So when we're looking at the videos, it's not so much the thing of either critiquing men because we did that already. This section is more so about looking at something in our society that women do and either saying it's either toxic or it's not toxic.
But
So
I don't see that particular video as an example of women in general. We're talking
Can
about
I
one
interject
individual.
for 1 second? It is definitely an example of Black women. I had this very same conversation with another, with another group of ladies yesterday, and the statistics show in New Jersey, Essex County, New Jersey, that over 75% of the child support cases that are filed is out of spite. It's
correct.
not the fact that the man is not taking care of the household and not taking care of the child. This is facts. These men are bringing proof that they're taking care of their kids and they're taking care of their household, and these women are bringing them through hell. Do you know what happens when you go to jail for not paying child support? Because of spite. Because of spite. This is a fact.
You're absolutely correct.
Absolutely correct. I went through it. I fought a case for 5 years that encapsulated my whole life. $300,000 worth of debt, cars, housing, everything. Because guess what? She was toxic to live with, so I said I had to leave. I can't handle this. Let's just separate. Guess what she did? Lied on me for even saying I need to get away from you for a minute. So she lied on me, and the system believed everything it is that she said, and that's what I went through. jail, everything. Toxic.
Right.
He's gonna take care. And when I left, guess what? Took my passport. You not never taking nobody else out of the country. Took my money. Did it. That's toxic.
Absolutely.
When you, to guide you in a relationship. When money is the main factor in a relationship. When I get with you and I send my representative to say, I like you. Ooh, I like the way you dress. I like the. But all you looking for is the bag. All you looking for is the wallet and what they can do for you. That's a toxic trait.
Wow. Wow.
I agree, because and then women, if the man go with another woman, then you do everything you can to spite him. I have
To
this
destroy that man,
acquaintance
not
that
only spite, but
lived
destroy.
in a different state. When she found out that man was getting married, she left the state she was living in, take the kids out of school to be in the same city with him to prevent him from getting married. Because he did get married, you can't see your kids. Every time she turned, he was in the courthouse. More money, you can't see your kids. So yes, women do have a way of making men life miserable.
Go back
kind
to
of like
the situations about scriptures. I like a lot of people believe in the scriptures, so I go back to that. You know what I'm saying? The people can't fight that. You can say what you want to say to me, fight the scriptures, fight what God said. When he told you about Delilah, who was she was toxic. She was outright. She was aggressive and overbearing. This is what I do. She misused men to get what she did, even killed men to get what she wanted. Then you have Delilah, who was passively toxic. Oh, baby, I love how you do, and lied and got a man. Each one of them got people killed. But guess what? What they wanted, to make them look good, to make them feel good in front of people. And the same thing exists right now in our relationships and in society today. And guess what? It's growing.
So that's a very good point. I'm glad, Kalisha, that you actually brought that point up, because like, again, when we were doing toxic masculinity, everybody was hopping on men, but then, you know, from a different perspective of men are also being abused by women in a sense. And this is like why we're talking about toxic femininity, because most of the times we assume that it just comes from the males and we don't see things through, you know, the men's point of view. So, so this is why we're doing this. So I have another video that kind of gets off of like women using men in order to come up, but we're going to kind of get back to that. So now the next video is going to be more towards sexuality, right? Because using sexuality, is that toxic?
Very.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's watch the video.
So that means men are not in control of their behavior. What are you saying exactly?
What I'm
Let's
saying
watch the video.
Is that as a female, not you specifically as an individual, but women since the beginning of time have built and war and countries destroyed, because guess what? A man was in love with their sex. A man was in love with how she made him feel.
So we need to take responsibility for men's behavior. Not only take responsibility for our behavior, but take responsibility for men's behavior.
So listen, this is about toxic femininity. Let's not get in, we did the men. Let's like just watch the video right now.
Exactly.
Question, right quick. Are you being the devil's advocate and speaking for every woman, or just yourself? See, these are things that you may not do.
No, she's not speaking for me.
But the court system and the penitentiary,
I wouldn't want to.
What we're saying about toxic women. So I'm trying to figure out where you get your idea. Are you just being argumentative, or are you really reading the paper?
So actually, here's what I do. I don't usually go with the masses.
The masses?
I have my own opinion about ideas.
But numbers don't lie.
Okay. Let's not make this personal, please. Let's not make this personal.
I'm not.
This is not.
That's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm saying is numbers.
Let's watch the video. Eric, hit that video.
All right. So the background of this video is Amber Rose. I don't know if everybody's familiar with her. She was married, or she had an affair with Kanye West, and she was just into celebrity men. So again, using sexuality, kind of playing off the last video. So what she did was she had a whole like marathon of just which used to call her annual slut walks. So promoting sexuality towards women. So is this toxic? Let's find.
What's up? This is Jason Lee.
And I'm Jeraslyn.
And we are all the way down here at Amber Rose's 3rd annual Slut Walk, and the sluts are out.
It's a lituation. We got all types of demographic.
And we're going to find Amber, and we're going to take you inside, and we're going to answer all the questions that I have around what is a slut walk. Do you know what a slut walk is?
We're going to find out. So stay tuned, y'all.
Well, let's go.
This walk is personal for me. Being molested as a child and becoming very promiscuous, trying to find love.
We're taking back the word slut. Nobody can tell us what to do. We own our own bodies. It's up to us.
So we wanted to be surrounded just by complete body positivity. No shaming, no slut shaming.
We all live in a culture that encourages us to do that, but it's so much more enlightened and compassionate to be kind, and that's what really today is all about.
A lot of people are blind to the fact that women aren't being treated equally, and that's a big problem.
Not only women, but embracing the LGBT community and just equality amongst men and women.
You love you. Fuck everything else.
Taking stance in full force of everything that we are is really beautiful, and I really just came to see all these beautiful people in their natural elements, so it's awesome.
You want to go out and have a little less clothes on, go ahead.
You wear what you want to wear because you're comfortable in your own skin. You're going to see the women getting represented so properly today.
When I say slut, you say what? Slut! Slut!
It says gold digger, hoe, scammer, slut, bitch, fat bitch, diet, all of that.
So I wanted like a statement look, so I'm like, you know what? I'm a fat bitch, let's go.
I was called all those names as a child, and I had to realize that's not me. You can call me all you want to, I can wear it, you can call it to me, but it's what you answer to.
I think I would just put dick.
You heard it here first.
When I say Amber, y'all say Rose. Amber! Amber!
We about to protest sexual injustice, derogatory labels, victim blaming, rape culture, slut shaming. We're going to have a celebration for women today. So thank you so much.
Y'all better give it up again for Captain Saberhide.
What makes this year's Slut Walk different from the previous two? I think people are more aware because I didn't shut up about it and I threw my bush in everyone's face, and I just kind of didn't stop for feminism. I just kept going and I shouted it from the rooftops, and now it's bigger than ever.
I am here and I'm an advocate and I stand for the women, so that's why I'm here. Doesn't matter if we were a stripper, doesn't matter if we chose to pose nude. Each photo, it's our choice. So it's very exciting to be surrounded by all this energy, this amazing energy. Men, women, non-binary, everybody's here and I just love it.
I just came in.
Oh, I'm on mute. So just looking at this video, right? It's a lot of different things meshed in this one video, right? So take out the LGBTQ, take out the lady in the beginning when she was talking about she was abused. Let's take that out and let's just focus on the idea of it's being okay in a society to claim to be a slut or a hoe, and that you can have sex with as many women you want. I mean, as many people as you want in terms of like being a woman. Is that toxic?
Anybody?
Again, Amber?
Definitely. I would consider it toxic.
All right, y'all are super quiet with this one. Like, I don't know if y'all are confused or like.
I think I'm quiet.
I don't understand how this
I'm on
applies
mute.
to
I didn't realize I was on mute. Sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like for me personally, I'm quiet because I'm stuck in between two different, and in one sense of it, both men and women can be empowered to be who they are, be empowered to have sex with who they want to have sex with, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then at the other hand, doing it for the opportunity to like have it come up or say, oh, I was with this person or I was with this celebrity or whatever it is, that, I mean, that is toxic. So I'm just kind of, I think I'm quiet because I'm kind of half and half on this.
I agree with the woman that just spoke. I'm not on the fence. I don't think it's toxic because people have a right to do what they feel they need to do for themselves. And if they want to sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Sally, Jesse, and Raphael, that's just what they do. It starts to become a problem when you take what you're doing and hurting somebody else with it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I was trying to get through. Yeah,
that's when it becomes
exactly
toxic. But if I'm doing it and ain't nobody knowing about it, that's my business.
Right. I think that's what you said, what I was trying to get out of perfectly.
I got you, girl.
The reason why I wasn't ready to rush and say, yes, this is toxic was because you got to also understand that there's body shaming in this slut industry. You have to remember that whenever a girl is growing up, she develops a lot quicker than the other girls in her group, in her class. They automatically, you know, your people around you, even adults, automatically assume that this young girl is having sex. Mm-hmm. You understand? And she gets shamed. She gets shamed, and she probably haven't been having sex. You know, she's probably not even curious about that stuff, but automatically she gets labeled as a slut. So I understand them wanting to embrace that term because yes, a woman should be proud of her sexuality because you got to understand that sex is a gift from God. You understand? It's something that we should enjoy and we should embrace, but also it's something that you should be careful with whom you're sharing it with. It's not something that should be distributed amongst everyone like that freely and widely. So I am on the fence with this topic because it can flip either way.
I want to say this as a man. I'm a man, extreme. So I love women, but at the same time, let me say this. We grown. We can do what? We can meet and we can have some fun. We can do whatever it is we're gonna do. Okay.
Can everybody mute themselves, please? I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I think someone is
to blatantly come out and say, I'm gonna show my private parts to the world. I'm gonna show my breast to the world, my booty to the world. I'm talking about I'm gonna come outside naked and I'm gonna give it to who I want to and to promote that this is what women should do. Where did the class go? Where did the polish go? Where did the style go? Where did the elegance of a woman come? Where did it go? Where's the purity of who you are? And I'm a man. Now, I can meet you. I don't know who you are. You cute, though, right there, who I'm looking at right now. Guess what? I might meet you one day, and we might be grown and be in the passion of the moment. But I want to ask the women something. You don't want a man that has been with every woman around the way. So why would you think a man would want to be with you and he can go in the club? We're going to go in the restaurant tonight, and I'm going to see 4, 5, 6 different men look at you with the look that I look at you with. That's going to magnify to me that they've been with you too. Tonight, everywhere we go. What do I want with you? Yes, it is toxic. We have to understand toxic means to be poison. So to take away from the purity and the elegance of who you are as a woman and the way that the Most High made you, yeah, that's toxic.
I understand
would like to share
that.
something. Who's speaking? I could fall back.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I was just saying that I can understand that perspective, but at the same time, as a man, if you walk into a club and you see this woman and you see who she is and you see other men looking at her, ultimately you also assume that if you're going to still lay up in the bed with her, then you obviously also enjoy what she's been putting out there as well.
No, that's not what I said. I said, if I take you somewhere and I walk in here and I acknowledge that these men are looking at you the same way that I am. What I mean by that, Queen, is guess what you can do? And I learned this. I was raised under 4 women, right? A woman can brush up on you in a certain way, never knew you, but she's letting all the women around you know that I'm choosing him, stay away from him. So when I take you in a club, I just met you, this is our first night out, but I take you to a lounge, to a restaurant, and I see other men look at you with that look in their eye, that note that says, I want you again. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff. Oh, she do it like this. She got that work. She got that good stuff. That's different.
I can't say, like, you can't, I understand that you can look at someone and say, oh, you know, and give that feeling and blase, so on and so forth. But ultimately, as a man or as a person in general, you cannot read based on the look on someone if they've had sex or they haven't had sex. So
assumption.
when you're bringing it, like, let's say you go out to the club and you have your woman that is turning heads and is desirable, you can't you're going to say that she's toxic for being.
That's different, Queen. You still missing the point. That's different from, we have codes, and the man don't even have to give it to me. He can look at you in a certain way that says not just that you're attractive, but I'm gonna be grown up right now. That pussy good. I had it. I want you again. Remember me? These are looks that people can give. And guess what? Women do the same thing.
I think that it's toxic to assume.
That's different. That's different from being attractive and to let somebody know I've been there and I want it again. They different.
Yeah, I just think that it's a little bit toxic of us, of anybody, to assume.
Okay.
When I watched the video, I didn't see it as toxic because these people are open about what they want. And I'm not talking about the moral aspect of it. When I think about toxicity, I think about using your whatever skill, whatever power that you have to oppress, to vilify someone else. I don't see how that video vilifies anyone or hurt anyone. These people are open about what it is they're doing, and you as a human being get to decide whether you want to be a part of that or not. I think about toxicity, on the other hand, I'm thinking about somebody that is deliberately using their power or whatever gifts they have to hurt someone else.
One question. Would you let your daughter or granddaughter follow her? Would you let your daughter or granddaughter be an open fan of hers in your house with you?
I'm not judging, and that's not a moral question for me.
Real simple question.
We're talking about
toxicity. I just, if I can interject 1 second, this whole slut shaming thing is something that happens on a Black minority culture. White people don't do that with their children. They embrace their sexual curiosity. They tell their daughter to go out and experience and see what it is that you like, but they do it in a discreet way. You understand? They don't have to put it out on the prowl like that. But
absolutely, yeah.
This goes back to why Black women especially, are hypersexualized, you know, because we were born with the curves. We were born looking more voluptuous. And it goes back to what I was saying. Black women especially get the title of slut just based by how they look. They are not sexually promiscuous at all. They do not have a lot of casualty or sexual partners at all, but they get that name. They get that name.
And even within women, because sometimes a woman walk in the room and you don't even know her, but you have comments to make about her. She's this and she's that. You don't even know her name. So you're absolutely correct.
That's what I said. I'm not judging. It's not a moral issue for me.
So, but it is a moral issue for the simple fact of that. If you know the background of Amber Rose, she uses her sexuality in order to, because her whole career, her career started off as she was a stripper, right? So she used being a stripper in order to build up her career because she started dating celebrities, right? So it kind of goes back to the last video that I showed. So her using her sexuality in order to advance in her career, is that toxic? Because then
Are we talking about Amber Rose?
But that video did not demonstrate that though.
Wait. So it's parallel to what the other, and this is the point I was trying to make. So it's two things that's going on here, right? So it's the comparison to, I think the chick name was Brittany Renner, and she's using her sexuality in order to advance in her career or in her lifestyle or whatever you want to say. Amber Rose did the same thing, but at the same time, now she's taking it to another level. Now she's encouraging other people to say it's okay to actually be promiscuous. So to say that is not a moral issue, it is a moral issue, because getting back to, you know, things that, again, me and India talk about is that when you think about how relationships, and I think somebody mentioned this before. Matter of fact, there was a couple of things that was mentioned earlier. Now people are kind of being contradictory, because in the beginning of this conversation, everybody said what their definition of femininity was. And everybody said virtuous, morals and all that other good stuff. Everybody said that. Most people agreed on that. So now that we're talking about sexuality and promoting the idea of being a slut, now everybody's backing off and like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So it is something wrong with it, because in the beginning of this conversation, everybody said what femininity was. It had nothing to do with having multiple partners and promoting yourself in order to get ahead in life, because technically that's prostitution.
Yes.
So basically what she's doing is she's promoting prostitution and saying, listen, it's okay.
But Eric,
is that toxic or not?
Eric, you're explaining who Amber Rose is to us. You showed us a video and you're asking us if this is toxic.
Right.
And I said,
Right.
how can it be
behavior
out in the open?
The promoting of being a slut.
Hold on.
Is that or is that not
So
toxic?
why are we calling? Okay, so they call themselves a slut. So how is it toxic?
Because she's, well, listen, first of all, again, toxicity is the expression and the negative of poisoning of anything that is sound. Anything that is good, it sends it into the reverse aspect. So this is why I asked you when you said, oh, she's not toxic. Okay, would you let
I said the video wasn't toxic.
Can I finish?
There's a difference.
Can I finish?
Sure.
I appreciate it. She promotes the degradation of femininity. She promotes degradation of women. And these are little girls that listen to this and want to become what she is, which is she's not going to go in any relationship and be successful. And the children that listen to her will not either. And they will wonder why. I was just like Amber Rose. Everybody likes Amber Rose, but nobody likes Amber personally and privately to be their woman. So that's toxic.
Okay. Just to stick to what the video had to display, right? There was a woman on there. She explained about being molested. And just so that you guys understand, the word slut is a woman who has many sexual casualties or many sexual partners, right? So there's several ways that can happen. A woman can be abused sexually, you know, growing up. Is that her fault? You know, no. and people will put it on the woman and say, hey, you dress too sexy and you caused it. You know, your body is too appealing and you caused it. So it's her fault. So you have to understand that this is a very touchy topic, because there are women that have many they got a lot of body counts, but it didn't have anything to do with them. They didn't choose on their body counts, right? How do we know that Amber Rose wasn't a child that was sexually molested because she has that body? We don't know. I don't know her personally.
So
you understand?
So Kalisha, in the beginning, before I asked the question, I said that let's throw out the LGBTQ, let's throw out being molested. I said, let's throw out all that stuff. Let's just stick with the idea of promoting the idea.
Throw it out, because what slut means is a person who has.
But that's an assumption. We don't know that.
What I'm saying is, if we throw out being sexually abused, because that's not you promoting the idea of having sex and being freely with your sexuality. That's not the same if you're 12 years old and some guy hops on you and that counts as a body count. We're not talking about that.
All right. I'm gonna throw it out. I'm gonna dismiss all of that.
Can I say something?
Sure, Angela.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Not good.
Okay, so I want to just talk about my daughter, my adopted daughter. She was sodomized by her father, who thought that because he didn't go in the other hole, that he didn't rape her. And he didn't. So long story short, she became very, very promiscuous. She was like, guys was coming from different cities to come because they heard of her reputation. And girls was shaming her that because she didn't find anything wrong with it. And she cried to me like, I just don't want to be a tramp. And I was like, well, baby, you sleeping with everybody, not just in this neighborhood, but all the neighborhoods. So if that's not what you want to be, then you face it and you fix it. So she had a lot of casualties. So she ended up facing it. Was she wrong for being sodomized and raped by her own father? No, he was the person that was supposed to protect her. But the garbage that come with being raped and molested by someone is the aftermath is horrendous. So, which I told her, I said, listen, you can continue to be everything that these people are saying that you are, or whatever, or you can face it and fix it. So after 10 years of being like this hot, and she's beautiful, and being this supper on everybody's plate from all these different cities, she couldn't even, we tried to count how many guys it was, and we got to like 90 something. And that was a lot. That was like way too much. And they knew people, and they was telling other people, and people was coming over, popping up from different places because they like the guy said, how they have a code and talk about it. So she ended up going into therapy. Really didn't work because she kind of knew what they was saying, but what she ended up doing was taking a lesson in college. And she became a sheriff in a small city, and she ended up getting married. And so now her husband provides her with this desire that she has. And she has a very, very kinky way of having, but when you with your husband, you can be as kinky as you want to be. But just with all these fly-by-nights, it was unacceptable. So to be, just because this happened to her, it shouldn't define who she is. And she didn't like being called tramp, slut, hoe, blah, blah, blah. So she faced it and she fixed it. And so to be out how Amber Rose was, how she's making it like it's okay to do these things. And who knows her story? Who knows if somebody messed with her as a little girl or whatever? Who knows that? Nobody really knows. I don't know her story. But watching the video, I believe like we're all in this group setting right now, and we're all sharing different stories. And it sounds like some people are coming with like their own version of how they believe. Everybody have a different way of believing what they believe, but at the end of the day, that was very toxic, because younger girls who don't know how to express themselves think that's a healthy way to express yourself. That is not healthy, because now you're coming off as like, this is okay. But then no, what's not okay is that you need to face whatever and try to fix it, unless you're okay with being called these names. If you're okay with being called, I hear women call themselves, yeah, because I'm a bad bitch. I would never call myself that. I would never call myself that. But then I don't judge others who do. If you say that you're a bad bitch, oh, bitch, I believe you. But I don't think, I would never represent myself like that. And I'm not gonna promote myself. I see women wearing nothing, like literally nothing on, because they want to feel sexy. And listen, I got some nice dresses where I could be sexy and not showing nobody anything. Long sleeve, long dress all the way down. And I'm not saying that you have to cover up. I think I have a decent body, but I don't want everybody in a neighborhood to see it. I just want to kind of keep it from that special somebody, you know, and it's okay to, you know, and what I do in closed doors is what I do, but I don't think like advertising it. I don't think that you shouldn't advertise it because you're fearful that you may get raped. I think that's overkill. But I think that you should be kind of classy about yourself, you know. And
as we mentioned in the beginning when we spoke about that.
So and I'm sorry. So this is why I brought this up, because again, a lot of people who in the beginning who said have the definition of what femininity is, now all of a sudden they're backtracking and saying like, oh, this is kind of okay. It's not okay, because based on the definition that most people gave, they looked at it like, oh, it's something wrong when a woman doesn't have elegance, that she don't have class, she don't carry herself a certain way. So now to have somebody who's promoting like, listen, you can have sex with as many, it's a moral issue. So if we now have to look at something from a moral standpoint and we have to either say, is it good or bad? Then if it's bad, then that means it's toxic.
Listen, I want to also add this, you know, I could have sex with as many men as I want to, but the backlash is I don't want to pick up the soul ties from all these different people, you know, just because he looked good, smelled good. Oh man, I know I see a lot of handsome men, but a lot of people have baggage, and a lot of people have wounds and scars. And stuff happened to me as kids that not just narcissist women, but there's narcissist men. And to run into them, I have ran into them, but I knew the warning signs. And sometimes I just to flirt around with it, just to see how far they would try to go before I stop. Sometimes I entertain it only because I was a special ed teacher and I just needed to know, like, why did you really think this will work? You know, because I walk on that wild side sometimes just to get over there, just to see, but I protect myself because I won't go but so far. But I do want to really know how, because every woman that I know had a narcissist guy. They say they'll do it again. They'll do it again because that's the best fun that they had. And that was the best ever that they ever had. But then when it got to that point where it strung their heart along, they said they would do it again. They love it. And then I want to address the lady who, I think her name was Carmen. I want to address what she said, that, you know, like men are, they come after women, blah blah blah. But women, it's so many women that come after men. I know right now 16 men who were stuck on child support with a baby that wasn't even theirs. They just loved it so much, and they was like, yeah, this is my baby. We had a baby. And at the end of the day, they really didn't have no baby. She had a baby.
The background noise. Sorry, Angela.
Yeah, but so at the end of the day, it's some really good guys out there that fall down on hard luck because of who they used to date, and then they get a criminal record for domestic violence because she said such and such happened. Everybody's seen the movie where that lady took that something in a sock and bust herself in the head. I know women who have really did that and sent they got to jail, you know, because she really didn't want him with somebody else. Not only he couldn't get with somebody else, he couldn't even get a job. So now that he can't get a job, and you know, if he don't come to the table with something, that shouldn't count him out. You know, I'm not telling no woman to carry no guy, but if you guys have interest, then you can build whatever you want to build. You know, I believe in, you know, you can speak things into existence, you know, and some people don't want to put that into it. That's why a lot of women choose to be single. Some don't want to be single, but they standards, I'm not saying their standards is too high, because it's somebody for everybody, you know. So I don't want to send the wrong message, like, you know, I'm saying tolerate nonsense. No, I'm not saying that. I would never say that. I'm saying that we have to be true to ourselves, you know.
That's not toxic though.
No, and you're absolutely correct, because I know females that, this one particular person that I know, their husband was getting ready to leave. What they did, they called the police for them and said that they raped their son. So women are toxic. That guy spent 3 years in jail because she did not want him to leave. So
yeah,
that's toxic. Yeah.
All right, so I have a couple more videos. So this next video, this was like the big thing from last summer, this entanglement situation. So show this video. Hold on.
And so that we are clear, we're looking for what's toxic in that video, in the videos, correct? Is it toxic? Is it not? Is that what we're doing?
So let me give background information. So everybody know who Will Smith is, right?
Yep.
So last summer, the big thing is with Jada, his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. She had an affair with a guy that's probably 20 years younger than her. Now, the issue about this, one, is that the female's reaction to her cheating, it wasn't the same way that females would attack a guy if he cheated. So it kind of also deals with like the double standard, right? And I think also in this video, Will Smith is crying because he's devastated by this situation. So the situation itself, is it toxic?
Well, before you go on, I saw that video and I watched it. Full disclosure, she did not cheat on her husband. She said they were separated, and he agreed that they were separated.
Let's agree
let's
that
put that out
he
there
lived in the
first.
house with him. Can we agree to that? Can we agree that he lived in the house with him? Will Smith and Jada Pinkett fed this guy, clothed this guy, and helped this guy get jobs?
What I'm saying to you, sir, he said that him and his wife were not together. That's what I saw when I watched the whole show. He said we had separated. So she was cheating on him.
So then there's another issue then to look at. Is she a sexual predator because she took advantage of somebody that looked up to them? So since you want to throw, that into it, is she is now a sexual predator because this guy is probably 20 years, 25 years younger than her?
No, I don't want to throw anything to it. I just want the facts to be known that she was not cheating. Now, if you want to talk about the sexual predator,
she's still married. Legally, she's still married, though, correct?
But they were separated.
Yeah, but they're
and that's what
but they're still legally married.
But they both said they were separated. And let's not play here because we know that there's a lot of people who are married and have relationships outside. So let's not go there. Let's be truthful.
Okay, let's be truthful with this. When you are married, I was married, and I was going through some emotional things. I think my mother was dying at the time of cancer, and I was fully married, and I ended up with a younger guy, and I was getting what I needed at the time. I didn't care about my marriage. I didn't care about anything because I was angry with my husband because he wasn't really supporting me during the time my mother was sick. And I was at places that I know I shouldn't have been.
But you accept responsibility for that.
Absolutely. And I was cheating because, and this guy I wouldn't let him come to my house because I was trying not to be disrespectful, even though I was very disrespectful. Anytime that you're married, so what I learned from that was if I ever got married again and I don't feel that I'm getting what I need emotionally or physically or whatever, I would end the marriage and then proceed, because cheating is cheating. And I don't care if me and my husband decide to split. If we're split and he live in one place and I live in another, as long as I am married to him, that is a covenant. That is a covenant that we take. And taking that covenant and to take lightly of having that covenant, no matter if he agreed, hey, you know what, we can both you can sleep with somebody, I can sleep with somebody. That's still cheating. It doesn't matter. And I was a cheater. And during that time, I could have cared less. But now that I'm older and I look back, I think I remember how vulnerable and emotional I was, and I justified it. And you know how I know I justified it? Because I'm not a drinker, and I stayed drunk doing it because I couldn't face it with reality. And so now I would do things different, because it's not so much as you know better, you do better, because we all know better. You know, if you're on a diet, you shouldn't eat that cake, but you eat it anyway. So to say that you know better, you do better, it's not that. It's because when I got with oneness with myself, I'm always honest with myself, because I am my favorite person. And I know good and well what I was doing was so wrong. And I did it. And I'm not proud that I did it, but
Angela,
I learned from it.
So Angela, so I'm sorry. So you said all that to say that if you're separated, even though you're married, that still is considered cheating.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Because I don't know what world I live in. I thought that even though, unless you get a divorce, you're cheating. It don't matter if you're separated.
Now that I'm single, I can smash who I want to. I can ignore who I want to. I can neglect who I want to. I can go where I want to. I can leave when I want to. And I can enjoy what I want to. But when you marry, you don't have that same. You can do what you want to do, because the Bible tells you thou shalt not steal, and people can steal every day. So just because you can, it doesn't mean that it's right.
Okay, so let me get into the video. So let's get into the video, because now I'm glad that you made that point, because we'll get into the video and then we'll talk about it afterwards. And I apologize for the video.
As promised, Jada Pinkett Smith brought herself to the red table, and surprisingly, her husband Will Smith joined her. They talked about pain, healing, and yes, Jada's entanglement with August Alsina. It's all love. Recently, Alsina revealed to the world that he was involved in a relationship with Jada while she was still married. And even though statements were released denying the affair, Pinkett Smith is now reluctantly confirming that the relationship did indeed exist.
It's a situation that I considered private.
I just feel like it ain't really nobody's business. But now Black Twitter has claimed it as their business.
During the 12-minute Red Table Talk episode, Jada sat down with Will to explain how she met August 4.5 years ago. But the friendship didn't turn into something more until she and Will were ready to call it quits.
You and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided...
I was done with your ass.
Yeah, you kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though. Marriages have that.
Yeah, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
Yes, we know entanglement is vague as hell, but thankfully, Will pressed her to be more clear.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely.
We also got clarity on the misconception that Will gave August permission to sleep with his wife.
The only person that could give permission in that particular circumstance is myself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But what August was probably trying to communicate, because I could actually see how he would perceive it as permission, because we were separated amicably. And I think he also wanted to make it clear that he's not a homewrecker.
Now, if you're like us, you're probably wondering why August? Well, we'll let Jada explain it.
I just wanted to feel good. It had been so long since I felt good. And it was really a joy to just help heal somebody.
Eventually, August broke things off and they haven't really talked since. And the Smiths claim they are now stronger than ever.
We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
For HipHollywood.com.
Whoa.
That's toxic. That's toxic.
That's toxic.
She done messed that little boy's life up.
No, she didn't. She didn't mess his life up. What she did, she gave him an experience that he'll never forget. And what I mean by that is, hopefully he'll know not to get involved in another relationship with somebody in a relationship. But I have to say that Will, what he did, he supported his wife, whatever problems that they was having. When I get married, it's gonna be a guy like Will. He's gonna accept me the way I am. He's gonna love me for who I am. On my mistakes is gonna be our mistakes, because when you're married, you are as one. And so if my husband messed up, we messed up, and we're not gonna talk about it all over TV. Only thing he did, he showed up for his wife. He showed up for her, and she, and what she said is, it was a long time that she hadn't felt good. That's where I was. And so the very first person that showed up and told me that they understood, I was all in his arms, all in his bed, and he was all in my entanglement. And
is it toxic though?
And during that time,
it's toxic.
Is it toxic?
That's toxic.
Yes,
that is toxic.
Yes.
It's toxic.
I'm asking the lady.
You bleeding your poison onto somebody else. That's you're filling a void, because you're lacking inside, because you're not taking the time to work through your issues. That's toxic. That's toxic. It's okay. It happens, but it's toxic.
The thing of it is,
you're
one thing
muted.
About it, the guy that I was entangled with was younger too. And when he was younger, he was able to keep up, for one, and then two, because I was so backed up, he was able to keep up. But then he knew I was married. He knew all of that. And so he knew that, listen, we act like we didn't even know each other in public. Like, hey, oh yeah, what's your name again? You know what his name was. Just from this morning.
Toxic.
So now, it was toxic. It was
toxic.
That was toxic. But at that red table, Will showed up for his wife, what he should have did, and they did it in the face of so many people. They got criticized about it, but it was absolutely toxic. But guess what? Hurting people hurt people. I was hurting. I was dealing with something. I'm not justifying it. I'm not justifying. I'm not even proud of it. But I was able to call it what it was.
All right, let's unmute yourself. We can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you. Let me explain something. This is just like the little girl or the guy who has been raped and molested, abused, and different things of that nature. That is an abuse. That is a pain that we're looking to feel. We're trying to get that void filled. Jada Pinkett, when you're in a relationship, this is why I say I never stop. Whoever I'm dating, I never stop dating them. Even if we get married, I never stop dating you, because I never want you to feel voided. I never want you to feel anything is missing in you. So because Jada was missing this, she looked to get it filled. And if you watch their whole stories, you will see how she continuously talked to Will and he continuously neglected him. So I'm going to say that to be hurt and to act upon hurt, to act upon neglect, to react and respond upon not being fulfilled is not toxic. You make bad mistakes, you make bad decisions, but I don't think it's toxic. When I talk about toxic, the definition of toxic is you knowingly are doing what you are doing and you know it's going to hurt somebody and you don't care. So I don't believe that Jada or Angela was actually toxic. But if you know what you're doing and you fix it, it's not toxic. You're hurt and you're trying to fill a void. But if you know what you're doing and you keep doing it, that part is toxic. Then that makes it.
I'm sorry, Maurice, but if you are having sex with somebody and you have and you're consciously doing it, why is that not toxic? Even though your feelings are like, because you feel a void inside, that's why you in a relationship, because you're supposed to talk these things out. So because it's either understand what I'm saying. So as being an adult,
I have a feeling that I want you, my spouse, to feel.
What I'm saying. Let me finish saying what I'm saying, please.
Go ahead.
So, because what you mentioned is when you intentionally do something, that's toxic. It doesn't matter like how you're doing it because of how you feel. If you're in a relationship, because if that's the case, everybody who's ever cheated could just say, listen, I felt a void in my life and I had to find somebody. Everybody can say that then.
Not the same. No, not the same.
Why is it
But
not?
that's what they do, Eric. Unfortunately, that's what they do. They justify. Go ahead.
It doesn't make sense to you, but again, I explain this. I did sessions about this and videos about this as well. Everything I need, I'm supposed to get from my spouse. I avoid people because of my spouse. She's at work, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous. She tells me my cologne smells good. She tells me my suit is nice, and I say thank you and I keep going because I'm respecting my wife. When my wife begins to neglect me and I continuously communicate with my wife and tell her the things that I'm missing, and she continues to neglect them, your husband continues to neglect those things from you. You begin to have a conversation. You begin to have a conversation with that lady that you normally avoided that said your cologne smelled good. You begin one day accept that cup of coffee from the guy at work that you avoided because of your husband. Why? Because it's not something that you're intentionally doing. As human beings, we feel a void. We need to feel loved. And I am looking from this from my spouse. But because I'm not getting it, I now pay attention to who I paid no attention to. There's a difference between making mistakes, even, making mistakes and actually like, this is my aim. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to make this happen. Anyway, I like him. I know I'm married. I'm not having any problems at home. And I'm going to still go ahead and put it in because she got a fat booty on her. If she keeps saying something to me, I'm going to get at it. Oh, he's nice. I love the cologne that he wears. You're not having no problems at home. And you're going to give it to him anyway because you like him, but you in a relationship. To me, there's neglect, and I'm going to purposely aim to do what I'm going to do. That's like,
may I interject?
With a girl, as soon as I finish this,
can I say something?
That's like the same situation to where the girl is not promiscuous because she has been raped and she doesn't know how to place and where to place her emotions and how to deal with sex. So she becomes promiscuous until she learns how. To me, that's the difference. That's the same.
Okay.
Kalisha, go ahead.
And all right. So we're talking about filling a void in a relationship, right? We're talking about two married people and one is feeling a void and they feel the need to fill the void. We're responsible for ourselves. We're responsible for healing ourselves. We are responsible for filling our own void. Let's just put that there on the table, done. We're going to leave that there. Your partner is not responsible for filling any financial. We just went over that from the first part, right? we just said you can't take it back now. You just said the man ain't responsible for filling the woman's financial void, right?
That's not
Each individual, no. We're individuals that's coming together. We are responsible for filling our void in ourselves, right? And I just want you to know that insecurity is a form of toxicity. Insecurity, void and insecurity is the same. Yes, can we agree on that?
It can be. Yes, it can be.
No, it's the same. Void means, okay, all right. It is a form of toxicity. It is. It is. Am I? I don't know. Like,
I don't think they're the same.
No,
they're
it is the same because if you have a void and you try to fill a void, it's dealing with your
insecure. Right. You're insecure.
No. I don't agree. I don't agree.
Filling a void is not the same as being toxic.
Yeah, that's not the same.
Because
insecurity means lack of, right? What does void mean?
Give me 3 seconds.
Insecurity doesn't necessarily mean that.
Wait. Let her finish her point. Let her finish her point.
Let me get 3 seconds.
Wait. Let her finish her point.
3 seconds. I always refer back to the scripture. Guess what the scripture says? Do not neglect your spouse because they will attract to someone else. Don't neglect your spouse. So when
wait, do you have another device on? Because we can't
hear you. You're going in and out. I can't hear you.
I said, I always revert to the scriptures. And the scripture said, husband, wife, never neglect one another. Why is that? It's because of what can happen. We're humans. This is what happens. So again, there's a difference between neglect and insecurity. I'm not talking about one time or something. I'm talking for a continuous basis. That's why we got married, because you were filling my voids. You completed me. I completed you. And when you begin to stop doing that, I look for you to, hey, look, baby, look, this is what I need from you. And I continuously communicate with you. But over a period of time, as you stop, guess what happens? We lose emotion for each other.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I need to respond to this, because with me just getting out of a relationship, like what you're saying, it makes sense, but at the same time, it don't make sense. Because as being an individual, as being, I'm not even going to say a man, but being a responsible individual, right? If you feel as though your spouse is not completing you, then there's two options you now have. Either I'm going to accept not being completed, or I'm going to leave because I'm not being completed. This is what an adult does. But to sit here and say that, oh, because I'm not being completed, now I'm going to go cheat on my mate, that doesn't make any logical sense. This is how children respond to things. And because I'm a high school teacher, I hear this all the time. Oh, she's not doing what I'm, so I'm a cheat. That doesn't make any sense. If you're responsible, you
doesn't make sense, but that's how it
responsible
works.
thing
A lot
to
of
do is
people-
to
listen, if you are a
non-toxic thing to
responsible
do.
adult, these are the things that you have to do, right? So you don't react off your emotions. You look at a situation and you want to put yourself in the best situation possible for yourself. So therefore, if your spouse is not completing you, then that means you need to find somebody else, or you're going to deal with them not completing you. But to say, now let me go find somebody else, that's
not what I
a way
said.
of looking at something.
That's not what I said, sir. That's not what I said.
Then repeat yourself then. Because that sounds like what you were saying. That's why everybody's looking crazy.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something that happened to me. Suited and booted the majority of the day, I do a whole lot of different things. My wife I didn't look for her, she looked for me. Oh, you smell so good, you look so good in your suits. I love the business you do, how we travel. You're so intelligent. Over a period of time, guess what? All that stopped after she had me. So I'm telling her what I like. I'm telling her what I miss in her. This is not in a week, 2 days, 3 days, a month. This is over a period of years that she stopped, and I'm still trying to make us work. Baby, I miss this. I need this. I want this. Not when I go to work, guess what? I'm not paying attention to these chicks who tell me you look good in a suit and I love that cologne you got on. I'm saying thank you so much, and I keep it moving. But as I continuously miss what I'm supposed to get from my woman, and these women keep saying this to me, now I accept that cup of coffee from her that I normally would have paid no attention to. Now the situation is, when she tells me my cologne smells good and what I got on, now I name it. I don't look for her to do something, but now a conversation ensues, because guess what? I'm missing what I'm supposed to get from my wife. I don't look for it. Over a period of time, it can happen.
So you
feel
don't
like
go
you-
home to your wife and tell your wife, honey, we done, because I'm about to go have sex with this person over here. You ain't
No,
doing, that's the topic. There you go. There you go.
I never did that, but I'm a case manager and I'm a counselor as well, predominantly relationship and marriages. So I'm telling you what I experience with people and couples. They get neglected. You got somebody on the line right now. Angela said she missed what she was looking for. Did she go out and look for this dude? She didn't look for him, but over a period of time, she began to pay attention to somebody she normally avoided.
Everybody have a love language. And so what it sounds like was Maurice was missing the things that he enjoyed about her, the things that she said, the things, the words she used. Me, when I was married, I missed the companionship because I was running to hospice, seeing about my mom, and when I came home, it seemed like it bothered my husband because he didn't even want to, he was like, he was mad that I wasn't there and not understanding. So I was missing a lack of understanding and compassion. Even when I would talk about my mom, he was acting like I was talking about another guy that I was kicking it with. And he used to be so compassionate, and he didn't have no compassion. And so when he didn't have that compassion, that's what I was missing. But then when this guy I ran into, he had so much compassion. Hey, I know what you're going through. I know how much you love your mom. I know this, I know this, I know this. Hey, next thing I know, my panties came off. I wasn't trying to, but then when that happened, he knew what he was doing. And I was like, hey, yeah, well, I guess I was missing this, that, and the third. So it's not that a person needs validation, but all of us have love languages. And so all of us, when you get to a point in your relationship, if one of the love language that you need is not there, you're going to look for it. I didn't even feel like I was looking for it. It's like it ran into me, So
I'm sorry.
And you know what? You guys are not understanding the fact that it's all a part of the human nature and the cycle of life, because not everybody is a match for anybody. So once things start to slide, and things are not as they were, then that means that you are not you're not a match. So you can't say, oh, this one did me wrong or whatever. No, you just don't match anymore, and that's just it. So you're either going to match or you're not going to match. And if once that starts to drift away, then that's just time for a new relationship. We all watch the animals, like I always use the terminology where the lion raises the animals, and the lioness raises her cubs, and the lion comes in, he mates, and he moves on. So it's just basically similar to that. It's just a human nature thing. Not everybody matches. You match for a little while and then maybe not forever.
This is true. Sure, I what we can do.
So this is why I made the point that if you see that you're not getting fulfilled in that relationship no more, then now it's on you to say, like, listen, instead of me going out and cheating, I might as well just end it and be like, yo, it's not working anymore. I need to move on. You need to move on. End the story. Instead of sitting here now, y'all are just cheating on each other. It's like, what's being accomplished here? Absolutely nothing. So either
let me just say, okay, Cheryl been married for 42 years. She just celebrated her 42 years. So that's wisdom in the house, okay? Just so you know.
Congratulations, Queen.
Hey, she told the truth on that.
Sometimes we can mess up and we can repair what has been done. I can repair to where I was creating the void in my wife. My wife can sometimes create the void that was being taken care of me, but we both have to work on that. You know what I mean? And both of y'all saying like, okay, we'll just get a divorce. Like that's the easiest thing to do on the planet. Maybe I don't know if y'all have ever been married or divorced, but I've been both. And it's not always the easy thing to do. Do I say cheat? No, that's not what I'm saying. And again, what I'm saying is you don't look to cheat. This void, when you are missing something and somebody comes along and begins to feel what you're missing, you can begin to pay attention to them that you
No, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you, because you have to understand that when you marry, the way the marriage term has been defined, and you create children, okay? Yep. A lot of times people forget about the children. They think about themselves. They don't think about the children. My husband and me, we do a lot. We have 4 children. And let me tell you something. It was a hard decision for me to say, okay, yes, you know what? We have to work this, because guess what? We have children to raise. So now here we are at 42 years, and we're happy that we made that commitment and we decided to do what we had to do as far as a family was concerned. So when you talk about missing this and missing that, those are all just excuses. People make excuses for a lot of things that they do. No, they make excuses for, let me finish. People make excuses for what they do. What they have to do is they have to accept responsibility and make a decision. They can't say, oh, well, you're not doing this. I did this because you missed and did. No, that's not really a right answer. But that's your opinion. I'm just telling you how I feel. And what I feel is, you have to make a decision. You make a decision whether you're going to stay, you're not going to stay. You're going to cheat, you're not going to cheat, you know, but it's not fair to stay in a relationship if you feel that it's their fault that you're cheating. You need to just get out and go do what you got to do. And you don't even have to use the word cheating. You could just say, hey, it ain't working. Let me move on. And that's it. Making an excuse just doesn't even make sense. It's just for accepting responsibility for what you've done.
Were you saying that to me?
Yes. I'm talking in general. I'm talking about anybody that makes excuses, for why they did whatever they did. That's what I'm saying. Okay. If they make an excuse for what they've done, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that's not what I was saying.
And I want to add this. Me and my husband at the time, we had a blended family, so just leaving wasn't. We had like all these properties. We had 3 businesses. We had 9 cars. We had like 13 kids. We had a lot going on, so just leaving wasn't an option. And it wasn't like I could just leave, but I eventually, we severed our ties. We had conversations about who was taking what, so it was over. It was over. Matter of fact, after I started having, like, one thing that I am firm on, if I'm having sex with one person, I'm not gonna have sex with 2. It wasn't like I was going to this young guy and coming home to him. Nah, we ain't mixing up no grapes like that. I'm not that type of chick. But the fact that I was no longer sleeping with my husband and not even in the same room, and we had all these things to separate, it took some time. So you're absolutely right. When it's over, it's over. But when you have occurred so many things and you have to separate those things and try to do it fairly, because I didn't hate him. We just wasn't compatible anymore. And so we're still friends to this day, but we had to make it where things were went the right way. Like, you know, he had 2 daughters and I was only mother in their life, and I had 5 sons and he was only father in their life at the time. So leaving him and breaking our home up was going to be devastated. I mean, you should have seen the kids talking about who they wanted to go with and who they wasn't going with and what they liked and what they didn't like. And the breakup was more than just me and him. It was a family that was being severed. And so, and was it worth it? Yeah, because I no longer desired him. I no longer respected him as my husband. I didn't even for a while, I really didn't even respect myself, you know, but my kids never knew about that until they became an adult, because then I had to like share with them, because like my daughter, I had to tell her, you know, this is what I went through, and be careful when you see this happening. You make sure you take care of things and have everything in writing and put things down, and you know, even my sons, like if this woman is not, if you can't be respectful or loyal to her as a girlfriend, then don't ask to marry her. Because I mean, you know, it's things that I learned that I had to teach them, and now they're doing a better job than I did at the time. So I think the lesson was a family lesson. It wasn't just what I went through.
All right, guys, it is after 10. This was very interesting. I just want to say, you know, thank you to everyone who participated. And like I said, you know, we all don't agree on the same thing, but the thing is to be respectful of each other. Everybody thinks differently. Whatever we accept or don't accept is different. No judgment, because what may be good for you or you believe is good for you may not work for me. So we just have to be respectful of whatever choices that people make, as long as they're not harming us. All right.
I just want to give a shout out to the lady who's been married 40-something years. Hats off to you, sister. I'm very proud of you. You are very inspirational. And dag, I should have just held on for another couple of years.
Can I say one thing on the way out? I never aim to cheat. My aim is always to fix a situation first to the best that we can. So let's try to make this work together. And then if that is not working, then my aim is to leave. It's not to cheat. It's to make it work.
I think
We all toxic in our own way. Hell.
Yeah. Before we go, India said something that I think we need to pay attention to. She said that we need to be responsible for ourselves, our feelings, and we need to be responsible for what we think and how we behave. Justifications, excuses, whatever we call it, that's all it is.
You know, basically, we're just here, we're having conversation, we're sharing. Some of us don't go anywhere. We've been locked down with COVID. We don't see the outside world. We don't associate. We don't have conversations. So this is a coming together and sharing. For on a personal level, and what you're feeling, it's neither right nor wrong. You just have to do what's at your best interest, as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
As long as you're not toxic.
Well, honestly, we all have some kind of toxicity in us, okay? It may not be this, may not that, but we all have our own personal thing. I know I've got mine. So who am I to judge? But the thing is that we come together and we listen to each other and we share. That's the only way we learn. And with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And 2 weeks, we'll meet back. I don't know what the topic is yet, but I got to make it calm. This one was a little roller coaster here. So I got to.
This is life. This one was life.
It is, but you know, again, thank everyone. Spice Island Queen here.
Thanks for the invite. Everyone take care. I enjoyed your conversation.
You guys are awesome.
You're gonna get out of here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what kind of screen I'm having here.